All right, so I know it was a disappointing season, and I know it was a really tough year for Kirby Smart, but in this video, we're going to talk about the positives, all right? Because it may sound crazy, but there are a lot of positives, and I think Kirby Smart is thrilled with these aspects of his team, and that's what I'm going to talk about in today's video. Now, the first positive that I think everyone took from the Notre Dame loss was that Gunnar Stockton is a baller, okay? Gunnar Stockton looked like the best player on Georgia's offense last week. That's what it was. He made big throws down the field. He was accurate. He threw the ball in some tight windows, hit some big balls down the sideline. Would like to have seen him open up, the run game a little bit more, use his legs, but it's not all up to him, right? A lot of it is the play calling, but what I want to see from Gunnar Stockton is what I saw, a, poised gamer out there who made some really big throws and throws down the field that were really accurate. At the end of the day, Georgia can win big with Gunnar Stockton, and we saw flashes of that against a really quality Notre Dame defense. There's no doubt about it. And I think if Georgia can, put together a game plan, whether it's Mike Bobo calling the plays or someone else, because I think that's very much up in the air if Mike will return, if they make a change at the offensive coordinator spot. I mean, more changes need to come after that season. There's no doubt about it. I'm not sure if that's one, but whoever's calling plays has to get Gunnar's legs more involved because that will open things up. Thought we'd see that against Notre Dame. We didn't, but we did see him show his big arm, and he is accurate, and he can make big plays and throws down the field. So if you're Kirby Smart, I don't know if he's going to come out and say Gunnar Stockton is our guy. He's our quarterback moving forward and into the future. Maybe he doesn't have to say it, and we can assume that it's Gunnar, in the offseason, but you got to be happy with the quarterback spot. Ryan Puglisi, the number 2, is really good as well, okay? Everyone on this channel knows it because y'all have seen clips and highlights of him that you can't see anywhere else. So everyone who's followed my work knows how good Ryan Puglisi is, but Gunnar Stockton has shown that they can win big with him next year. So that's number 1. That's probably the biggest thing that Kirby Smart is thrilled with when you look at the 25 team. The next one comes from the news that happened yesterday. Zachariah Branch, an explosive wide receiver, one of the biggest playmakers in all of college football, is heading to Georgia along with his brother Zion. But Zachariah is the guy. He is a big deal for a lot of reasons. He caught 47 passes last year for USC, 503 yards, 1 touchdown. In his career, he's caught 78 passes through his first 2 seasons, 820 yards, 23 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Now, those numbers aren't real jaw-dropping, right? But you got to look at what he's doing in the return game. 29 punt returns for 406 yards, 1 touchdown, 29 kick returns for 547 yards and 1 touchdown. He's electric, he's explosive, and he's a guy that I think will make an immediate impact. So you're upgrading at wide receiver. They had to make some changes there. They had to bring in more talent, and they got the best one out of the transfer portal. So not only did Georgia immediately get better on offense, but Kirby Smart has showed the fan base, hey, we're going to go out and get our guys, right? And he told the boosters, hey, if this kid's going to go for top dollar out of the portal, we need to be the top dollar. And they're saying, you know what, it doesn't matter anymore. We've got to get these kids. We've got to get these game-changing skill players on the outside. We didn't have it last year. This kid's in the portal. He brings us speed that we could use next year, right? And they went out and got it. And it wasn't cheap. And they outbid, several other programs. I don't know if it was the number 1, the biggest deal that they were able to offer him, but it was enough. And I think that tells Georgia fans, hey, we're not going to sit back and let everyone else get the top guys. We're going to start doing that now. We're going to recruit and bring in guys like C.J. Wiley and Talon Taylor and more speed with Landon Rolden and Thomas Blackshear and Tyler Williams. Those are 5 wide receivers who are going to come in hungry and ready to compete. But he also said, we're going to go get the best wide receiver out of the portal and bring more explosiveness to this offense next year. I think that was absolutely huge. So big deal that happened yesterday. And I know Dean made a video on that. And you could read all about him over on Dawg Post. Now, his brother Zion Branch is a big safety, 6'2", 210. Made 15 tackles last year, 1 sack, 3 pass breakups. So again, that's not going to really excite anyone, especially when Georgia fans want to see more from KJ Bolden, Janelle Aguero, Ja'Cory Thomas, I think, is still on the team. Justin Rhett entered the portal, but Ja'Cory Thomas is still hanging around. He might push for one of those starting positions. So at the end of the day, Zion Branch, adds more depth to Georgia's secondary. And, Kirby's always saying, we got to have more depth all across the board. Well, now they've got a safety who has playing experience and brings a lot of size. So he's one to watch as well. But they could not, they may not be done. Might not be done is what I'm trying to say at wide receiver, because Noah Thomas is a big 6'6", 200-pounder who played at Texas A&M last year. He was on campus this week, and it's another guy that I could see, heading to Georgia. And by the time you're watching this, there's a chance he may be committed to Georgia already out of the portal. So if that's happened, we'll make another video. But while I'm making this video right now, Noah Thomas has not committed to Georgia, but he's a guy I think Georgia fans need to keep a close eye on. Again, 6'6", 200, different from Zachariah Branch, who's around the 5'10", 5'11", I think 175, 180, different type of receivers. Noah Thomas reeled in 39 passes last year for 574 yards, 8 touchdowns. The dude could score, right? And he's a guy that can go up and win you jump ball scenarios and can haul in, contested catches down the sideline and in the red zone. And, at the end of the year, Gunnar Stockton was throwing, with the game on the line, the season on the line, in the Sugar Bowl, he's throwing to Nitro Tuggle, who only had a handful of catches this year, true freshman, and Lawson Lucky, who is a tight end, right? They need a guy like Noah Thomas to go up and win those contested, tough catches when you probably think it's coming his way. He can still go and get the job done. They really missed Colby Young last year when he had to, take time away from the team for an offseason arrest that I think is still coming, it's still ongoing, I guess. I'm not a lawyer guy, maybe one day, probably not. But I think it's still an ongoing situation. But he's been practicing with the team, so they'll have him back. But they also missed Ra Thomas, who got himself into more trouble, and we didn't see much from him. He's in the portal. He's gone. Didn't work. But they need guys with size, and Noah Thomas has a chance to bring more of that and be that type of receiver that Georgia really needs. So they've got Branch, which is huge. That's massive. But if they land Noah Thomas too, Kirby Smart has to be thrilled. He's got his quarterback, and they keep adding weapons at receiver. It could be a very, very productive bunch next year. It's definitely a step forward in the right direction already. I want to say this. He's got to be thrilled about the tight end position, because I think Oscar is coming back. I think Lawson Lucky's coming back. But Jaden Rell is the guy that I talked to Coach Hartley about during media days. And I've got a video coming up on him sometime, probably April, May-ish, an offseason video story. But they love this kid. He's the freshman that they signed out of Missouri. Watching him just, during warm-ups or whenever, he's a big kid, and he's got some muscle on him. He sure doesn't look like a freshman. But that's a guy I have high expectations for, and a guy the staff does too. So I think it could be a possible breakout year for Jaden Rell. And again, he's still got the two older guys, the veterans in front of him, but this kid is going to make plays sooner than later. He can't be kept on the bench very long. So that's a new tight end. I say new. He'll be in his second year that I think Kirby is thrilled about. Peyton Woodring has only missed 2 kicks. So special teams, I think Kirby's got to be thrilled at that. He's got his quarterback, but he's also got a kicker who showed he can be consistent and make long kicks and be a valuable option for them if, the situation comes across. So he's got to be thrilled about the kicking game, the quarterback, the receivers, the new tight end, and I think his linebackers too. Now, Small Munden is leaving. Jalen Walker is obviously, I say obviously, he hasn't said anything, but I'm pretty sure he's off to the NFL. I don't know why he would come back. They've got C.J. Allen, but they've also got a lot of young guys who, if they stay around, I think Georgia's linebackers are going to be very, very good again next year. But Raylan Wilson has played a lot. I think he'll come back, but that's a guy who I could see getting a lot of NIL offers, from other people, the tampering stuff before he's, entered the portal at all. But guys are going to come after Justin Williams and Chris Cole. I say guys, I mean teams, right? So Georgia has to hold on to these guys. I mean, David Pollock's out there saying that Georgia can have 30 guys enter the portal. And when you're talking about a 5-star from Texas, Justin Williams, number 1 linebacker, who saw the field some, not a ton, he's a guy who, it wouldn't surprise me at all if he looked for other opportunities. Now, it may sound crazy, especially because Raylan Wilson's played a lot, and we saw a lot of Chris Cole as a freshman, but at the end of the day, it is what it is now with college football. Kirby Smart has to hold on to his best players, while going out and getting guys in the transfer portal. So it's wild. But if these guys stay, and Damon Wilson stays as an edge rusher, and Gabe Harris stays for next year as another edge rusher, I think the linebacking core could be very, very good next year. It was pretty good this year. I mean, no doubt about it. But I think if they keep their guys, I would be shocked if C.J. Allen transferred. But the other guys, it would surprise me a little. Probably wouldn't shock me. It just is what it is. But if those guys stay, I think Kirby Smart would have to be thrilled with his linebacking core. I think it could be one of the best in college football next year. So still, they lost 3 games. It's unacceptable this year, but I still think that there's a lot of positives that you can see from this team heading into next year. And there's still a few areas of this team that I think Kirby Smart has to be pretty thrilled with. So thanks for watching this video. Hope you learned something. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And I'll see you over on the website. Thanks.